So I think all organizations that work with finance have a huge responsibility to make sure that the innovations that we have do good for as wide a group of people as possible. I mean, it's the imperative for all of us who work in this industry to do that. I think what's really interesting at the moment in terms of the chatter around fintech is Facebook's Libra. It opens up the white paper with a very big, bold statement that the world needs a new global currency, and then goes on to list the 1.7 billion people who are unbanked. So it's very clear that that initiative is something which is trying to touch as many people as possible and have a positive impact on people's lives. And certainly that's the hope of all of us who work in the financial services industry is to have as broad a reach and as positive a reach as possible with the inventions and the innovations that we work on. So I've worked on both sides of the fintech landscape. I've worked in a small entrepreneurial startup company and sold to large banks, but also worked for large financial services organizations buying from startups. And so I guess my brain is a bit confused between the Silicon Valley approach and the City of London approach. I think one thing that people will hear a lot about is this Mark Zuckerberg move fast and break things culture, which is really the epitome of what we think about Silicon Valley entrepreneurs trying to strive for, to just execute faster and deliver their products to market. But of course, for financial services organizations, it's kind of the opposite that we want. We're trying to move fast, but we're desperately trying not to break things. In fact, we need to make sure that we definitely do not break things. And so I think that's the cultural myth that a lot of fintechs may be on the wrong side of, need to understand that, first things first, we need to protect our clients and make sure that nothing breaks. And then we need to move as fast as possible within those constraints. So I think attracting talent into the industry is a challenge that we all have got, whether we're fintech, whether we're a large financial services institution, or whether we're from a different sector entirely. But I think what's really interesting about the generation that's coming into the market today is that the talent care much more about the impact that they have on society and the ways of working with a team than they care about the financial rewards that they have, which maybe my generation or earlier generations cared much more about. And so I spend a lot of my time thinking about how do we help people work more flexibly, how do we build a much more diverse and inclusive team, but also how do we make it clear to people the positive impact of the small parts of the puzzle that they're building straight out of school or university, how that piece of the puzzle has an impact on the society around us in a positive way. And I think those of us who are able to attract the best talent are those of us who are able to communicate that message more clearly. So it's a real tough question to answer, who would I like to have a fireside chat with? But I think to answer that, I would actually love to sit down with my son 18 years from now when he's a grown-up man, and to be able to understand the world from his perspective. And as a toddler, which he is now, it's very hard for me to try and imagine what the world 18, 20 years from now is going to look like. But that's actually the very thing that I'm doing in my role in innovation, is to be trying to imagine what the world is going to look like 10, 20 years from now, and build products and services and a culture that create a business that can support that. So yeah, if I could get the insight from my son 18 years from now, I'd love it.